Clicking live.
TikTok, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. It's your friendly neighborhood philosopher here, D. Wood. With me now, we've got the apostate prophet, still with a cold, still sick.
Still DRE.
Still sick as always. So, AP, interesting news started breaking early this morning. Although it's apparently been a suggestion for some time now, but you have a group of sheikhs, or sheikhs, as we would say, a group of sheikhs in the Hebron area of the West Bank who do not like the Palestinian Authority, think the Palestinian Authority is garbage and that there's no future with the Palestinian Authority, and saying that they would like to break away from the rest of the West Bank, have their own emirate, which will be part of the Abraham Accords, and they will acknowledge Israel's right to exist as a homeland for Jews.
Whoa, man.
And the reason for everyone to pay attention to this right now is if something does not happen soon, these guys will be in trouble. These guys will be in trouble long term. Right now, the Palestinian Authority has its own stuff to deal with, but these guys trying to break away, these guys trying to break away would be kind of a big deal. Because if you're the Palestinian Authority, you can't have everyone breaking away and deciding to do their own thing. All right, what is this?
All of this is just very funny, man.
Ash May says, David, do you use Ecamm? Yes, I'm using Ecamm right now. Have you ever run out of hours for interview mode? No, I have not. And I've done a lot of interview mode. I don't even know how much I have left. Yeah, so no, I've never run out of interview mode.
But there's a limit there?
I think you pay more or something like that. I always pay for the upgrade, and so.
Sorry. Didn't mean to laugh. Didn't mean to make fun of it.
What?
Yeah, so this comes, I guess, with some recent news, with some recent updates on the whole conflict. Not talking about Ecamm now, talking about Israel and Palestine. And namely that members of the governing Likud party, the conservative party that Netanyahu is part of and in charge of, has apparently recently just recommended that that Netanyahu should, before the reconvening of the parliament, declare Israeli sovereignty over the West Bank. So what they're saying is basically that Israel should make a move to directly annex the West Bank and to make it officially part of Israel. And I guess now that some people are feeling the heat and thinking, wait, no, we can't let that happen. We can't let that happen. Because once they do that, there is no going back. There is no going back. Nobody will take the West Bank away from Israel. So maybe it's time to make some compromise. That's what it looks like. I don't know.
We shall soon see. Let me get a map up on the screen just so people know what we're talking about here. All right, guys. So this is a map of Israel. Good to learn your geography, given everything people are always talking about, right? So you've got Egypt off there to the left. You've got Jordan there on the side. You got Syria and Lebanon up top. And then what you have in the purplish, bluish there, whatever the color that is, that's Israel. And then you have a big chunk that looks like it's been taken right out of Israel, right there. That's called the West Bank. And then over on the side, the little corner on the left side of Israel, that's the Gaza Strip. And that area was once controlled by the Philistines. Philistines brought all their old world demons to that place And then the Philistines eventually died, but they left all their old world demons haunting that place and making everyone obsessed with killing everybody. We're going to kill the Jews, right? So that's still a pretty rough place. But the West Bank, not nearly as demon possessed, but still not good. Still not good. Got a lot of problems. But let's go ahead and zoom in here. So you see West Bank. See where Jerusalem is? You got West Bank, and then towards the getting down to the second part of the West Bank green area, you've got Jerusalem right there. Jerusalem. And then below Jerusalem on the map, down below Jerusalem, you got this little place called Hebron, right? Which is actually, I think it's the biggest city in the West Bank, I think.
Hebron.
Huh?
Powerful.
Yep, I think it's the biggest city in the West Bank. But it looks like you see how the West Bank is in like two sections with the smaller section on the bottom. Looks like the Sheikhs want to take that area on the bottom, separate from the Palestinian Authority, which they say is just a bunch of terrorists who want to keep doing terrorist things, and these guys can have no future living under these guys. They're pointing out, it's actually an interesting article. They're pointing out that this place is run by families, right? These whole areas are run by like families and clans, and your loyalty is to your family and your clan. And then all of a sudden you get this organization that's imposed over top of you. We have the authority here. And they're like, who are you guys? Who are you guys? For generations, we're run by like our families and our loyalty to our families and our clans. And then you guys come along and tell us that, no, we all have to be terrorists and we have to pay you and you get to take all our stuff. And they're like, what is this? You're not even from here. You guys are outsiders who are imposed on us and we don't like you. And so these guys are now suggesting that, you see that bottom section there, that bottom section with Hebron in the middle? They want to break that thing off and make that an emirate that joins the Abraham Accords, meaning they will acknowledge Israel's right to exist and defend itself, recognize Israel as a Jewish homeland, and so on, and no more fighting, and they will keep their own radicals under control. They actually say, again, we'll check this out in the article. It's very interesting. They'll say that they'll be able to do a better job of keeping terrorists under control and so on, keeping extremists, because it's all family based, right? It's all, if you violate the rules of your family, you're evil scum. You're evil scum, and your own family and your own clan is going to hunt you down. Whereas with the Palestinian Authority, and so again, this is like some outside rule that was just imposed on all these groups and so on. And they're told, now you have to listen to them. They're your government. Like, who are these guys? Anyway, so this is some interesting stuff.
Now, there are a few things to say here, which are convenient. Actually, while the map is up here, let's put
the map back up.
Let's put the map.
Let's get that map back up here. Hey, tech guy, get the map back up. Okay, there we go. Oh no, that's not wrong. Oh,
that's not wrong.
How about that one? Nope, that's the wrong one. Hang on. Okay,
yeah,
there we go. All right. Tech guy, you're fired.
Now,
just kidding.
Now here we have the map, not to be confused with Daniel the Kikachu, but we have a map here in front of us, and the problem with what you're describing, the problem with breaking off that small part at the bottom and making an independent state or like an emirate or something there, the big problem with this is that that part specifically is something that Jews who take the land seriously would not want to give away. I would say that they would probably even be more likely to give away the other northern part than the southern part, because the southern part is historically part of Judea and is also today known as Judea. So Israelis refer to the West Bank as Judea and Samaria, where Judea is the southern part, because it is part of what was historically Judea, and the northern part is Samaria, because it's what was historically known as Samaria. And the southern part is the heart of Judea, and Hebron is historically a very important city to Jewish identity, because it is a city that, without interruption, was populated by Jews for thousands of years until the beginning or the middle of the last century, where Jews endured a pogrom, a massacre, and were eventually exiled and kicked out. Now, the Arab side has it and refers to it as Al Khalil, but it is a purely Jewish city, Hebron, and it is directly all connected to Jerusalem and is, as said, the heart of Judea. So, this seems a little bit of a difficult bargain to have, but whatever.
Hey, AP, tell me you didn't read the article without telling me you didn't read the article.
I didn't read the article.
Aha! But you didn't follow the instructions because you were supposed to do it without telling me.
Well, I don't like being told what to do. So.
Anyway, though it sounds like, and I only kind of skimmed it, but it sounds like the plan is to have kind of zones. I mean, they already have zones and stuff there, but there would be like areas where there will be Jewish settlements and so on, and like a mixture of people, and people get along there. And then sounds like they're gonna break things into different parts, but sounds like they're envisioning a place where Jews and these Arab families and stuff can all be living in kind of in the same areas and stuff. So you only think in terms of division because you're Turkish, but there are other people who think differently. But yeah, we'll actually go through this because anyway, it does look interesting, I have to say. I just have to say, ladies and gentlemen, we've always been aware that at some point some people need to break away from the terrorists, right? And not just be another terrorist group breaking away from the other terror, because that's what you have a lot of in the past. You'll have this terrorist group, and these people break away, and they'll say, "Oh, they're the good guys." No, they're just a different terrorist group who wants to terrorize in different ways, right? You need people breaking away who say, we don't want to live like this. We don't want to be part of this anymore. We want a future for our families, for our clans, for our great-grandkids. We want a better future where we could be building and making an awesome place to live. And those people are the people who realize, no, we need to get along. We need to get along with Israel for this to happen. And we need to not be working with terrorists who keep using us to terrorize stuff. That's what you need. And it would be good to have a nice section of it. It would be good to get a nice section like now. And then it would be good for the rest of the Palestinian territories to be looking and going, these guys are doing really well. They're living like bosses down there. Their places are building up. Meanwhile, we're still building tunnels over here to hide from, the rockets after the next terrorist attack we launch. Maybe it's not. This stuff isn't going to happen overnight. You want change over time to get some sort of positive outcome in the future. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to check out this article. It's a detailed article going through the Sheikhs' proposal. And sounds like if anyone knows what's going on there, it's these guys. And it's some interesting stuff. All right, we'll take this first batch of super chats and we'll jump into this dope article. It's interesting because, even though they've apparently been discussing this for a while, they've been kind of keeping it hush-hush because you don't want to be known as the group that's trying to work with Israel and so on. And so we haven't heard much about this. And yet it's all coming out now. So this is cool stuff. Let's see. Fox says, TikTok, time to be late. As much as you'd like us to be late, we refuse. This was not on my bingo card, but I love it. That's what I mean. This was like totally out of nowhere this morning. First, I thought someone was joking when they posted that Sheikhs want to break away from the Palestinian Authority and join the Abraham Accords. I was like, what? Is this an Onion or Babylon Bee thing or something? Anyway, shake that booty. Yeah, we should have Sheikh Jaabari negotiating the peace talks. Hi, base dudes. Are Sheikhs doing some Taqiyya? I don't think so. You might think, oh, this is them trying to get in good and try to deceive and so on. But it sounds like he's absolutely right. You've got your family, you've got your clan. You guys all stick together and are ready to fight for your clan to the death. it's the Palestinian Authority that's constantly screwing with you and controlling you and forcing you to do all this stuff that you don't want to do and so on. You want what's best for your family and your clan. And there are people who are recognizing, wait a minute, other Arab nations, entire Arab nations are joining these Abraham Accords. Why can't we be part of that and actually get along? So I'd say roll with it. Awesome, Lama, Takum, Dawa, and AP. Isa, bless you.
Powerful. Thank you.
The Sheikhs' proposal fits in with Professor Mordecai Kedar's idea to break up West Bank and Gaza into clan-based Emirates. Yeah, he's actually in here. Where have I heard of him before, AP? Because I was reading that, and when I saw Mordecai Kedar, I was like, oh, I remember that. I don't remember where from. He's been in stuff before, or he's someone I talked to when I was over there somewhere, but I definitely remember Mordecai Kedar.
His name just sounds like a very biblical name. That's it. I don't know.
Mordecai.
You probably heard about him in the Bible.
This person just brought up Mordecai Kedar, and Mordecai Kedar is in this article. No, he's been on stuff, man.
No, you probably heard of him in the Bible, man.
That dude's been on stuff. Israeli scholar of Arab culture and lecturer at Bar Ilan University. Born in Tel Aviv, Polish-Jewish parents. First language was Yiddish. He's a religious Zionist, AP. And an expert in Israeli Arab culture. He served for 25 years in IDF military intelligence, reaching the rank of lieutenant colonel. He specialized in Islamic groups, the political discourse of Arab countries, the Arabic press and mass media, and the Syrian domestic arena. Okay, so actually makes sense. He understands the groups. That's interesting. So Cars in Depth is pointing out that he was proposing to break it up into clan-based. And matter of fact, that's the same thing the heads of the clans are saying. They're saying we don't understand your way of government here, and this is what's causing the problems. You're taking some other thing and saying it's over all our clans. That's not how we think. We've got our clan. We can negotiate with that clan. We can negotiate with that clan, and so on. We can work together as clan. But then you've got this other thing that comes over and says, "Hey, we're in charge. We don't recognize or respect your authority." Anyway. By the way, it's kind of a bigger picture thing that. So you take India when Britain is pulling out and so on, or you take the Middle East after the Ottoman Empire falls, and the land in the Middle East is under the control of British and French. Similar things happen in Africa and so on, where You've got these map makers in Europe, and they're deciding, hey, how are we going to draw this map for this place? They're not thinking in terms of, hey, here's a group here that doesn't get along with this group here, and they constantly fight. And there's, let's lump them together right beside each other. And in other words, they're not thinking in terms of the systems that are in place, the structures that are in place. They're like drawing stuff on maps and so on. And sometimes they lump things together that don't go well together. And sometimes they separate things that would work well together, and sometimes you end up with, hey, let's just draw a big lump around here, and then put this other thing over in authority over it, not realizing that you have just created an endless, ongoing disaster that will never be fixed unless something changes. Let's see. Bethlehem is controlled by Muslims. Yes.
Yeah, Muslim.
Yeah, if you want to go from Israel to Bethlehem, you actually go out of Israel. In fact, our tour guide said he's not allowed in Bethlehem, and so we had to switch to a tour guide who is from Bethlehem, who lives in the West Bank. Someone called Trump, make the deal, shake on it. Oh, trust me. If this comes out and this catches on, you're gonna see Trump jumping into the middle of all this. And we thank the Sheikhs and their great clans. Some people say they have the best clan in all of the West Bank. Way better than a clan we've heard about in the in America. We don't like our clan over here. We don't like the clan. We say no to the clan, but over there, clans are good. Clans are good over there.
And this was only made possible because of me.
Who controls
I
Jerusalem?
negotiated it.
Who controls Jerusalem? Israel. Hebron is in the Bible, isn't it? Isaac and Jacob? Yes. All over the Bible. All over the Bible. Bigly. That's
because it is a foundational place for King David and the story of the Israelites. It has huge importance.
Bigly. That's why I would love that place to be getting along with everybody, because it's a cool place to... I think that's where they... I don't know how historically accurate it is, because sometimes this stuff is named many centuries after the events, but isn't that where they have like Abraham's tomb or something like that? What's in Hebron? What's in Hebron?
Lots of things.
Ancient ruins. Oh, Cave of the the Cave of Machpelah, Cave of the Patriarchs. Yeah.
Served as David's first capital for 7.5 years before the conquest of Jerusalem. Is where Abraham bought the cave, where Abraham dwelled, where Isaac and Jacob spent significant portions of their lives. It's very important, man. Very big.
Yeah, so we'd like them to get along. I mean, that would be keep in mind, guys, tourists can go to the West Bank and so on. It's usually, they're not as popular. It's not as popular to go to because you're always worried if you're going to be in danger there and stuff like that. But it would be good to have that place under better control and so on. And that would snowball, guys, because now people are going to want to go and check this stuff out more, which means more tourist revenue coming into the area, which means they could build up bigger and better, and it just keeps going. And then all the non-terror, I mean, all the other groups that are still with the Palestinian Authority and stuff, they're going to be looking and going, can we join your cool group? Yep. Drop your terrorism, buddy. Drop your terrorism. AP, my pal Josh Hammer is debating Dave Smith at the Turning Point USA event you said you're going to. I told him you two should get in touch. I suggest DMing him. You hear this?
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have just arranged my travel, so I'm going to be in Tampa for the event. The funny thing is, I was just told about this. Just told that Charlie Kirk wants to invite me there at the end of last week. So I honestly have no idea what the extent of my involvement at the event is. I'm just told this at the moment, and I said, "Hey, I'm open to anything." But yeah, I booked all my travel stuff, and now I'm not sure if I'm going to speak at the event or just do an interview. Whatever it is, I'm going to be there, and I will probably meet all the people that are there.
Oh, really? Going to go meet Tucker? He's one of the speakers.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to Tucker and say, "Hey, Tucker, I'm your biggest fan. I love what you do. You're such an important voice."
Dude, you should roll up to him with a camera and start asking him like dumb trivia questions, and when he can't answer, start cackling at him.
I shall.
That'd be funny. Should Israel build settlements in West Bank? Why or why not? I don't know. Depends. I'd say if you're giving up on, that's the thing. I think part of the result is people, hey, we've made all these concessions. We've taken land and given back land and stuff like that. They keep attacking us in wars. You know what? Maybe we just need to keep taking over more and more of it over the years. Stuff. I can see that. I can totally see that. I can see saying, you know what, for the sake of peace, we need to not take any. I can see that as well. I have to say, it sounds like the plan of the Sheikhs is okay with there being settlements there. That's what it sounded like. But we're going to read this. We're going to actually read it in detail. Israel should be Christian. Chances of that ever. Everything's going to be Christian.
Everything's going to be Christian one day, inshallah.
Weird to think Hebron could be the starting point for peace. It would likely necessitate use of force to dominate one side or other to cooperate. Well, that's the point. It's the local clans that are saying they're on board. It's the local sheikhs who are leaders of the local clans that are in charge. It's the Palestinian Authority, which is officially the government over them that would say no. But the guys in Hebron are saying, we run this area. They would get eaten alive if they came at us here. In other words, that's their home turf. But yeah, we'll be checking this out here. Shake it off. Haters gonna hate. Diddy Wood, you look like a flamingo. The heck? Like a flamingo. Did you know Tucker Carlson has Iran investor? Does he?
I think he does something like that. I'm going to ask him when I meet him.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm your biggest fan. Can I ask you a question? Are you funded by these governments?
Say, hey, I'm an influencer too. I'd like some foreign funding so I can turn against America and glorify every evil force to conquer us in the world. Can you put me in touch with whoever's funding you? And then see what he says.
I even have a Jewish audience. Lots of people follow me from Israel. Perfect opportunity. I could switch sides and influence them somehow. Can you give me your contacts, please?
Mm-hmm. Well, sure. I'll just put you right in touch with Putin himself. Dude, like turning into the Joker over time. Hey, AP, on The Chosen, who's your favorite disciple?
Good question.
Listen to your heart. Don't think. Listen to your heart. And you're not talking about your favorite disciple from the Bible. We're talking about from a show.
Are we counting the women, or what are we doing?
Who's your favorite disciple?
I don't know.
If you had to pick one in 3 seconds, what would you say?
I don't know. I can't pick.
Don't ask questions where AP actually has to think, ladies and gentlemen. Wise words, D. Wood. Disastrous groupings done on purpose. Yeah, I do wonder, because I'm sure it's a mixture. I'm sure it's a mixture of drawing lines that are purpose. You're doing this on purpose. You know you're screwing things up for the future, and you want that area destabilized, versus just being stupid. And doing it by accident. I'm sure it's a mixture, but I would like to know how much of it is. Watch what happens when we put all these guys together in the same country.
Mary Magdalene.
Oh, you got your answer now. You got your answer. It only took him 5 times longer than it should have taken him. I saw AP versus Trent debate. Trent seemed to separate belief and knowing. Anyone who believes higher power is a believer in God. He just claims they don't know him.
The funny thing about this is, I don't know if you've seen this. Did I tell you about this? But it just recently came to my attention. I'm not sure if it happened, that he actually is teaming up with that little guy, Danny, that little Danny guy, Danny Phil Corner something.
Wait, that little atheist dude who's like, you're nothing to Jordan Peterson.
Yes, he's teaming up.
And
with
then
him
then like our next live streams, he's trying to get on our show, and I'm just like, no, not interested.
Yes. Apparently, Trent Doherty is now teaming up with Danny Phil Talk to debate against others, to convince them that Muslims actually worship the same God as Christians do.
Teaming up with some atheists there. Hey, boy, Cameron, you're doing a bang up job. Now it's the Catholic Atheist Muslim Alliance against everyone else. Doing a good job. I was telling AP right before we started. I saw last night someone posted that if they were an outsider looking at the discussion on these Catholic pages for the past week, they would seriously think that Islam is a branch of Christianity. The way these guys are talking. Oh man! Wow! Yeah, as far as Paul, as far as belief and knowing, there would be various distinctions between those. So epistemology, one of the issues for epistemology, what's the difference between believing something and knowing something? You can say you believe anything. You could say you believe, you believe the earth is a cube or something like that. You could say you believe that. What would be the difference between believing that and actually knowing that to be true? There's normally some requirements for calling something knowledge. But knowing in this context a little different. Knowing in this context more like, do you actually know God? What's the difference between believing in God and knowing God? Something like that. Azalea is sharing AP's video as response to people. Dude, after she shared your thing, I went and looked her up a little more, and so apparently she calls herself a witch, and there was an uproar several years ago as she posted a picture of her closet where she sacrifices chickens. And it was like this horrible chicken bloodbath with like blood and feathers everywhere. And then she exhumed the skeleton of her dead cat and was going to boil it and bring it back to life. She said she could bring it back to life and so on. So anyway, point is, interesting people who promote AP's videos. Weird kind of people.
That's very funny.
Oh, wait a minute. You heard it here. AP thinks it's funny to be exhuming the bodies of dead cats and boiling them to revive them.
Hey, this is very funny. I see in her responses, she's just like, people are criticizing her, and she just responds with the link to my video. Like, why are you doing this and doing that? And she just posts a link to the video.
That's pretty funny, though.
Yeah. Apparently, my video was enough to explain her position for her, so she's just posting that. That's very cool.
You should message her and say, hey, if there's anything else you'd like me to explain that you can link to, let me know. That's kind of funny.
That's hilarious.
Ash May said, complicated Hamas elements there as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. You've got a bunch of active terrorist groups there and so on. That's kind of the point that these guys are making. They're saying that the ties of the clans and so on are that's what's strong enough to resist, because your loyalty is to your clan. And you even have some mocking of like the idea of like, how are you loyal to like some terrorist group and so on, or more loyal to dying for Allah? You've got your clan here, man. Tucker's investor is called Omid Melek. Hey, look up Omid Melek there, AP. Find out if this is true. Tucker apparently has a huge investor. Omid Melek.
Yeah. Iranian and Pakistani. I know about this. I know a little bit about it. I haven't looked. I haven't done like a deep dive into it. I know that he gets funding from. That his new company was funded heavily by this guy. But I don't know much about him. Got to look it up.
All right, you ready for this?
No.
This is breaking news bigly here. Breaking bigly news. It's from the Wall Street Journal. A new Palestinian offer for peace with Israel. Hebron's Sheikhs propose to leave the Palestinian Authority and join the Abraham Accords. Ladies and gentlemen, join the Abraham Accords. See, guys, it's always easy to say, here's what I'd like to see, and there's not like a real chance of this. Like, hey, wouldn't it be great if everyone just got along tomorrow and everyone just dropped their weapons and everyone got along? Yeah, that would be great. That's not something that could actually, it could happen in terms of things that are not impossible, but so massively improbable that can't take it seriously. However, this is something you could take seriously. This is something that could happen. The regime in Iran could be crushed. That's something that could happen. That's something that could happen in the very near future. So think, as far as things that could actually happen, this could totally happen. You could end up very soon in the very near future with a pretty large chunk of the West Bank entering into the Abraham Accords and getting along with Israel. And simultaneously, you could have the Ayatollahs toppled in Iran. And then what did Reza Pahlavi suggest? He suggested putting together the Cyrus Accords between Iran and Israel. And so you could actually get a much better situation here in the very near future. Hope it happens. It would be based. All right, let's check out some of this article, guys. AP, jump in with anything based whenever you want. I'll just read. All I do is read, guys. The idea of a two-state solution for Israel and the Palestinians has never seemed more futile than in the months since October 7th, 2023. Doesn't look like it's happening. Doesn't look like it could work now. But maybe that opens the door to a new way of achieving peace. We want cooperation with Israel, says Sheikh. No, I shouldn't do this with a voice. This guy seems pretty cool. We want cooperation with Israel, says Sheikh Wadi al-Jaabari, also known as Abu Sanad, from his ceremonial tent in Hebron, the West Bank's largest city. West Bank's largest city located south of Jerusalem. We want coexistence. The leader of Hebron's most influential clan has said such things before, as did his father. That's interesting. So this has been going on for a while, and apparently this clan has been saying for a while that they don't want to be part of this whole Palestinian Authority thing. That's actually good news. Doesn't sound as much like a plot or a scheme if it's been going on for decades and so on, to them saying, hey, actually, we don't want to be part of this stuff with these other guys here, guys. We'd like to be our own thing. But this time is different. Sheikh Jaabari and 4 other leading Hebron sheikhs have signed a letter pledging peace and full recognition of Israel as a Jewish state. I will repeat that. Sheikh Jaabari and 4 other leading Hebron sheikhs have signed a letter pledging peace and full recognition of Israel as a Jewish state. Their plan, awesome. That's very awesome. And guys, you gotta like the reasoning here, especially if you have this clan-based system. Hey, I'm the leader of my clan. I'm supposed to do what's in the best interest of my clan and make a future for my clan and make sure things are better for my clan than they've been in the past. And that involves making peace. That involves making peace with these guys right up the street here. Smart. I like it. Their plan is for Hebron to break out of the Palestinian Authority. My goodness, this is just as good as the previous sentence. I'm going to read these 2 sentences together after this. Their plan is for Hebron to break out of the Palestinian Authority, establish an emirate of its own, and join the Abraham Accords. I'm going to read those 2 together. Those are 2 beautiful sentences, man. Sheikh Jaabari and 4 other leading Hebron sheikhs have signed a letter pledging peace and full recognition of Israel as a Jewish state. Their plan is for Hebron to break out of the Palestinian Authority, establish an emirate of its own, and join the Abraham Accords. Always possible people have nefarious plans, but I like this so far. The letter is addressed to Israeli Economy Minister Nir Barkat, a former mayor of Jerusalem, who has brought Mr. Jaabari and other sheikhs to his home, means he trusts them, he's bringing them to his home, and met with them more than a dozen times since February. They ask him to present it to Prime Minister Netanyahu and await his reply. So this is not just coming out of nowhere. They've been working on this for a while. It said that the sheikh's father, before him, was suggesting things along these lines, saying we don't want to work with these guys. We'd rather do something else. And so who's this guy? Israeli Economy Minister. He's been meeting with them, met them more than a dozen times since February. They've got a plan together, and they want to pitch this to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Let's see, who's writing this? The Sheikhs. The Emirate of Hebron shall recognize the state of Israel as the nation state of the Jewish people, the Sheikhs write. And the state of Israel shall recognize the Emirate of Hebron as the representative of the Arab residents in the Hebron district. That's good, because I was like, what do you want to be recognized as? And as I'm reading it, I'm wondering it, and they shall recognize the Emirate of Hebron as the supreme authority over all Palestinian lands, or something like that. No, they just said the territory they already control. They're already in charge of. They already run that area. There's officially the Palestinian Authority over them. They're saying we don't want to be part of that. We just want to get out of that and get along with you guys. That's awesome stuff. Accepting Israel as a Jewish state goes further than the Palestinian Authority ever has and sweeps aside decades of rejectionism. That's why you got to pay attention to stuff like this. When you get to people who are like, yeah, we're willing to take the huge step that's required to get past all this. That's good. And it seems like that's what you'd have to do. It just seemed really unlikely that you're going to get all the West Bank and all of Gaza to just suddenly agree, yep, we're all on this. We're working towards a common future with Israel. It's going to be hard. You could get parts. You could get parts like this. I like the idea of working with a part here. The letter.
Here's the thing. So at the moment, it looks that the proposal is made by 5 sheikhs who brought this forth. Primarily the one guy, the Sheikh Jaabari guy. We meanwhile have an update from the local population, from the people in Hebron, that and also from his extended relatives and extended family, that they said they denounce this plan and want nothing to do with it. But within Israel, certain elements of the government might be considering to take this seriously and to go through with it. But it might cause some hostilities inside Hebron against these guys.
It would definitely 100% cause hostility. That's why they're going to be talking about you kind of need to move fast, because if Israel's just like, okay, we'll see what happens and stuff, people are going to wear down on these guys, because these guys are going to be called traitors, right? These guys are going to be called traitors for trying to work with Israel when they're actually doing what is in the best interest of their clan. But yeah, these guys would need support in making this work. They're going to need help from Israel in making this work. And they're going to, hey, we acknowledge you are the Jewish homeland. You acknowledge us as the group that's in charge here. And it's pretty simple. If you're not on board, go over that way. Go over to the Palestinian Authority. Bye-bye. But this isn't something where you could make this offer and just put it off for a long time, because you guys will get taken out. In other words, these guys are still under the control of the Palestinian Authority, which they're saying they want to break away from. Everyone get that? Right now, this moment, they are under the authority of the Palestinian Authority, which they're saying they want to break away from. So if they're going to do that successfully, seems like it would need to be pretty darn quick here. Let's see. So let me go ahead and read at the top again. Oh, no, we go down. Okay, we got to rejectionism. All right, let's go to the letter, sort of in the middle there. The letter seeks a timetable for negotiations to join the Abraham Accords and a fair and decent arrangement that would replace the Oslo Accords, which these guys do not like the Oslo Accords. That's what puts the Palestinian Authority in charge over them, which only brought look at their description of it. This is their letter. Hang on. The letter seeks a timetable for negotiations to join the Abraham Accords and, quote, a fair and decent arrangement that would replace the Oslo Accords, which only brought damage, death, economic disaster, and destruction. These guys do not like the current system of things. The Oslo Accords, agreed to by Israel and the Palestinian Liberation Organization in the 1990s, quote, have brought upon us the corrupt Palestinian Authority, instead of recognizing the traditional, authentic local leadership. That would be the clans, the great families that still shape Palestinian society. You understanding all this, AP?
Mm-hmm.
The Sheikhs proposed that Israel would admit. This is actually interesting. So they are proposing to get workers back working in Israel and so on. The Sheikhs proposed that Israel would admit 1,000 workers from Hebron for a trial period, then 5,000 more. Sheikh Jaabari and another major sheikh say Mr. Barkat has told them this number will grow to 50,000 workers. So this is on the Israeli side suggesting this. This number will grow to 50,000 workers or more from Hebron. Work in Israel is a valuable source of income for Palestinian communities, which have had little development of their own under Palestinian Authority rule, but most permits were suspended after October 7th. So, yeah, back then, guys, you had people who live in the West Bank and who live in Gaza, and they get work passes to come and work, and a bunch of those work permits got revoked after the October 7th attack because you can't tell who's coming to kill you and who's not. The Sheikh's letter pledges zero tolerance. Now, this is good. The Sheikh's letter pledges zero tolerance for terrorism by workers, in contrast to the current situation in which the Palestinian Authority pays tributes to the terrorists. So right now you're a terrorist and they pay you money. They pay you piles of money, especially if you die. And then they pay money to your family and take care of your family and stuff. And he's saying none of that crap, none of that crap. Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance. You'll get crushed and no one will ever help your family after that. That's good. Mr. Barkat says the old peace process failed, so new thinking is needed. He has been working with the knowledge of his Israeli government to explore possibilities with the Sheikhs. A senior Israeli source says Mr. Netanyahu has been supportive but cautious, waiting to see how the initiative develops. The timing may be out of his hands now that Sheikh Jaabari is extending the olive branch in public, meaning now that this is public, Netanyahu's going to have to make a call real quick or this is not going to last forever. Hey guys, it is interesting that, Masab points this out all the time. He's like, there's no Palestinian people. There was no Palestinian people. There was no group called the Palestinian people or anything like that. I said you had Arabs, you had Jews, you had Christians, and so on. I mean, you had Arab Muslims, you had Arab Christians, you had Jews. But in reality, you had clans. You had a bunch of clans around there, and then this other thing gets imposed, and now your loyalty is supposed to be to the Palestinian cause, which is controlled by Hamas and the Palestinian Authority. And it is interesting. You got these guys going, where's this? What is this new thing? What is this new thing that we're supposed to be focused primarily on this big thing that's never had any part of us before? So it would be good to torpedo that entire mindset of your loyalty needs to be to this giant terrorist group that's somehow got control over you. That has to go. It's got to go.
No.
With their bold move, and it is a bold move. That's what I'm respecting most. They just announced it. They announced it when they are in a position where this could blow up in their faces. I mean, literally, bomb blowing up in their faces over this stuff, and they still put it out there. With their bold move, the Sheikhs expect to swing Israeli public opinion to their side. Nobody in Israel believes in the PA, and you won't find many Palestinians who do either. Yep. That's brutal. Mr. Barkat says, what's up?
There is, there has been research on this. There have been surveys on this. But the Palestinians themselves do not trust the Palestinian Authority at all. Not at all. It's like they don't like it. They hate it. And if there were elections today, the people in the West Bank would most definitely vote them out and vote somebody else in place. The issue is that they wouldn't vote very good people in their place.
Yeah, it'd be another terrorist group.
Yeah,
that's a problem, and you can see it come out a little more in this article. They really, really don't like the Palestinian Authority. You have all the people who are there, who know each other, who have respect for one another, and so on. And then this other group comes along, put in place by an agreement on the other side of the world. And these guys now get to come and abuse you and tax you whenever they want and tell you what to do. And like, we don't like these guys, man. We do not like these guys.
Yep.
Let me start up there again. With their bold move, because it's bold, the Sheikhs expect to swing Israeli public opinion to their side. Nobody in Israel believes in the PA. And you won't find many Palestinians who do either, Mr. Barkat says. Sheikh Jaabari wants peace with Israel and to join the Abraham Accords with the support of his fellow sheikhs. Who in Israel is going to say no? They're saying this will get public support really quick, like in Israel. They will be like, what? Here's some guys who really, really want to get along with us? Awesome stuff. The 48-year-old Sheikh Jaabari often cites his illustrious ancestors, but his actions are guided as much by his view of the future. There will be no Palestinian state, not even in 1,000 years. Ooh, this is like realistic, saying, hey, go on this road. There's no Palestinian state. This is not even 1,000 years. This is never gonna work for these guys. Guess what? That's right. On the other side, you got the Hamas, and in 2 years we will conquer all of Israel. It's like, dude, you guys live in fantasy land, man.
It's never gonna happen, man.
Not gonna happen. There will be no. But this is this guy saying, there will be no Palestinian state, not even in 1,000 years, he says. After October 7th, Israel will not give it. A second major Hebron sheikh who signed and declares his loyalty to Sheikh Jaabari agrees. To think only about making a Palestinian state will bring us all to disaster. The other sheikh spoke anonymously for their safety. How catch that? Again, this is like common sense. This is like realism. You're understanding how the world really works. If all we're focused on is getting our Palestinian state and conquering Israel, all we get is disaster. Plan something else. We need a different goal and a different plan, one that will actually work. I watched videos of Sheikh Jaabari and another sheikh signing the letter and reviewed documents elaborating on the plan made with Mr. Barkat, which includes the creation of a joint economic zone. Here you go, AP, because you're worried about Israel and settlements and so on. Which includes the creation of a joint economic zone on more than 1,000 acres near the security fence between Hebron and Israel. The sheikhs expect it to employ tens of thousands. It will be a joint economic zone. A document in Hebrew lists the Hebron area sheikhs who have joined the Emirate initiative. The first circle has 8 major sheikhs who together are believed to lead 204,000 local residents. See, AP saying, this will never work. It's just one guy. No. These guys have, and hey, I remember something later. These guys are actually kind of badass, man. There are some badasses here. As you can see, when there's a conflict between the PA and these guys, if it's on their turf, these guys win. These guys win, and the PA backs down like a bunch of little cowards. Anyway, the first circle has 8 major sheikhs who together are believed to lead 204,000 local residents. The second circle lists 13 more sheikhs who lead another 350,000. That makes up a majority of the more than 700,000 people in the area. In other words, these guys have a majority of people under their authority already. And so they can make this work. Both circles have sworn allegiance to Sheikh Jaabari. So both these circles have declared allegiance to this guy in this matter. An Israeli associate of the sheikh witnessed. Those clan members also include many of the Palestinian Authority's local foot soldiers. The sheikhs expect them to side with family. Ooh, that's interesting. I love that. Everyone gets that? You've got people who are the local enforcers, the local foot soldiers of the Palestinian Authority. That's their job. They work for the Palestinian Authority, their government. But their real loyalty is to their families. They're just doing that as a job. If they have to decide loyalty to my family, in other words, if my family goes to war with the Palestinian Authority, or if there's a conflict between the Palestinian Authority and my family, I'm going with family 100% of the time. That's what they're saying about these guys. So they've got the Palestinian Authority. They've got people down here. Those people are going to side with their families if this gets set off. That is good news. Good news. This is a likey so far, man.
You see, you see how they keep mentioning sheikhs, but there's one sheikh that they never mention.
If you say your booty.
Sheikh Jaabari.
You should make a video where you offer to negotiate this whole entire agreement as the one person who's acceptable, as the one person who's loved by Jews and by Arabs alike.
Yes, I will do that.
You could. That
I'll
would be
call
funny.
Sheikh Jaabari.
It would. It would actually be good for getting more people to be aware of this cool situation that's going on. So this guy's pretty cool. That's Barkat here. I plan to cut off the PA. Nice. I plan to cut off the Palestinian Authority, Sheikh Jaabari says. Guys, this is why I said this is time sensitive. He just said he's cutting off the current government. So this would be like a state in the United States saying, you know what, we're cutting off ties with the federal government. You better do something quick, or that's not going to work too well. I plan to cut off the Palestinian Authority, Sheikh Jaabari says. It doesn't represent the Palestinians. That's right. It doesn't. It is allegiance to a terrorist ideology that wants nothing except the destruction of Israel. It is not. It does not seek the interest of your people. And dude, this is actually really important. You look like once a group like Hamas has spread its ideology and this overarching goal, then what do you get? You get all these people, yes, we'll give away all our kids to this terrorist regime. Yes, it's a good thing to sacrifice all our kids. Meanwhile, if you still have like loyalty to your clan, you're looking at this going, you're not what? These are part of our clan. You're not getting all these people killed. The heck is wrong with you? My job as clan leader is to protect the people in my clan. Your stupid ideology calls for them to be your cannon fodder. No, I don't like you. That's good. That's good. That is a much better mindset. You're saying?
That's the thing. When we're talking about the Palestinian Authority, which is in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria, lots of people think that that contrary to Hamas, these are actually good guys. They're actually reasonable. They're actually secular, and this and this and that. They're not. Their entire role here is simply to to stall this entire conflict, to not get to any peaceful agreements, to through corruption stay in power and control the status quo until the people somehow, get the power to fight more forcefully against the Israeli state and to enforce some of their stupid ideas. This is just a corrupt, disgusting movement that has been keeping the West Bank in its grips for the longest time, and they help in no way at all. They are the enemy just as much as Hamas is the enemy.
Who are the enemy just as much as Hamas?
The Palestinian Authority.
And what is the connection between the Palestinian Authority and the PLO?
They're the same thing.
Why did they change their name? Just to sound like more of a government?
Well, the Palestinian Authority is supposed to be the government that the PLO established in order to rule the Palestinian state. But the PLO, or Fatah, is basically what is primarily in charge of the Palestinian Authority. So they are basically the Palestinian Authority. They are basically the same thing.
And I think this is going to, I think this comes up in this article, but think about that. The PLO, those were outsiders, guys. Those were outsiders. You have all these guys and all their clans, and then outsiders. Where's Arafat from? Egypt or something? And you get all these outsiders coming in and saying, "Hey, we're gonna be the government here. We're gonna be the government of these people." And these people already have like their clans and stuff in place. And all of a sudden, this is being enforced over them. And it's, "Hey, just so you know, we're all part of one group. We know we're not from here. You don't know us. You don't respect us. You don't like us. But we're the authority now, and we're gonna use you all as pawns in our game."
Yep. That's
and these guys, some of these guys do not like this. Some of these guys do not like this. We'll read some of this, but we have some naysayers here and some naysayers from the area, So it'd be good to get some input from everyone over there. We've got some Israelis commenting saying, "We will never make agreements with these people. We will only crush them." Let's see. Hey, check this out. Cleave to Antiquity says, "I'll be debating Trent and Danny. Should be funny."
Oh yeah, it's you and JP Uncut, right? Yeah, the both of them are debating Trent and Danny. That's very funny.
Wait, what's the top? Is the topic whether Christians and Muslims worship the same God or something else?
I think so. I think it is. Yeah.
Wait, he's got an atheist.
Yeah.
Who teaches high school?
Yeah, he has to rely on the atheists now.
He can't find. Like, I mean, seriously, like, why not Cameron or something? Isn't that a weird choice for a debate partner?
Yeah.
So you're going to get Danny going, "Come on, you guys all worship the same." Say, someone should bring up Jordan Peterson's answer and just be like, "Oh, so you're saying we all worship something, eh?" So you finally agree with me?
You all worship the same Sky Daddy. And Trent Doherty is like, well, yeah, we are all indeed worshiping the same Sky Daddy. He's completely right. I completely agree with him when he says that we are all worshiping the same Sky Daddy. It is all the same Sky Daddy, indeed, yes. What is this, man?
It's funny because you and me were talking about putting some videos on this, but I'm just in my mind, I'm like, no, this is going to die down. This is not going to last. But then they keep running their mouths with it, man. They keep going with it. It's just going to go on forever. It's like, is it going to be 8 months from now? And Cameron's going to be like, and here's my new argument for why Christians and Muslims worship the same God and why Islam is just a sub-branch of Christianity and how we all worship the exact same God and we should all go to church together. That how it's going to happen, Cameron? Because it's getting annoying. All right. Let's see. Here we have Mosh Cohen. Now, Mosh is over there on the ground. So he is in a much better position to see things up close than we are. But he says, we heard it so many times before. Nah, don't bite. Well, here's the thing, Mosh. When you're dealing with, here's the thing, because we've been dealing with it, but in a completely different way. Here's the deal. There are actually peaceful Muslims who just want to live normal lives and build a future and have homes and make a better future for their kids and so on.
Like two or three,
yeah. They don't want to subjugate anyone and so on. They just want to live and work and so on. But you also have guys who are jihadis and want to violently subjugate you. What are the jihadis? Occasionally you have a jihadi who tells you exactly what he wants, right? But more frequently, they conceal their intentions. So the jihadi who lives among you and wants to ultimately subjugate you and is working towards a future where he actually subjugates you, what's he going to say? He's going to say, I just want peace and tolerance and I just want a good life for my friends and family and blah, 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 blah. He's going to say the exact same thing that a genuinely peaceful Muslim would say. How do you tell the difference? It's kind of difficult to tell. And so if you get caught out several times by someone coming up to you, hey, guys, let's work together and make a difference. You fall for that a couple times. I'm saying, again, this is from experience. I've just seen tons of Christian organizations and campus organizations that fell for some sort of interfaith dialogue. And I'm sitting there going, do you seriously not know who the Muslim representative in this interfaith dialogue is? Because I know for a fact he does not believe what he's telling you. I know this. And meanwhile, everyone's falling for it. But here's the thing. Even if you're aware of that, even if you're aware of the fact that people will lie and come up with all sorts of plans. So in this situation, could very easily be another terrorist group that wants to break away from the Palestinian Authority because they think they can be a better terrorist group and so on. So you can imagine how these things could happen. But you just want to be careful because there are actually peaceful guys, or in this case, there are people who do have more loyalty to their families and their children and don't want them used as terrorist cannon fodder, and who would like to establish some future for them instead of just endless terrorism. In other words, even if they still would like Islam to dominate the world and things like that, it's like, okay, this plan does not work. This will never work. And so we need to give up that plan. So anyway, I have to say, reading the article and reading through what these guys are saying, I'm not getting any liar vibes. Some people give off massive liar vibes every time. Like all the Dawa guys, all the time, give off massive liar vibes. It's just like they're saying all these little things. You don't even know what you're picking up on, but like, you're lying, dude. You're lying. Here, these guys, they seem pretty serious here about this. And again, it all ties together. It's not like they're just some other terrorists. Oh, and we're this other group, and we want to live in peace with you. No, give us power that we will use only for good, right? These guys are breaking it down. We didn't vote for these guys. We don't like these guys. They want to use us as terrorists. Our loyalty is to our group, and our group would like to get along and build a future and build up our place. So yes, I am for all kinds of vetting, and I seriously doubt Israel's going to enter into any agreements with anyone who is shaky, no pun intended, but If all this checks out, this seems like real good. And again, you'd still want to be careful. You don't want to, okay, now we made an agreement with this, guys. Let's just tear down the fence and all get along. No, but you'll be able to pick up on over time. You'll be able to pick up on whether these guys are serious about this. I have to say, even if they had some other plan, some other diabolical plan, wouldn't it still be better if you had kind of two West Banks? You know what I mean? That didn't get along. I would say that'd be preferable. So in other words, worst case scenario, these guys do not have the good intentions they claim. It would still be, I think it would still be good if they broke apart from the Palestinian Authority, and the Palestinian Authority has less control over things. I have to say though, these guys, they do look like their loyalties lie elsewhere, which we'll get to here in a second. So I shaved my shoulders in solidarity with Palestine for nothing. Prayers for my state of Texas. Oh yeah, rough stuff happening in Texas, man.
Yeah.
I was at a place once that right after I left got flash flooded, man. Whole place like gone. And you think, how's water going to just destroy entire building? Nope, it will. Water will destroy almost anything. And quick. It can happen quick. It can, man, pretty creepy. Masab Ysef posted 16 hours ago about clans. Hey, why don't you look that up, AP? Or maybe I will.
I will check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Because he might be saying, no, do not trust these clans. I know these clans. You do not know these clans. I met these clans. They're horrible clans. Do not trust these clans. Might be saying something like that. You got something from Masab on clans, man?
La, 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 la. Arab Sheikhs from Hebron, the largest city in the West Bank, 750,000 population, want an Arab Emirate, independence from the Palestinian Authority, peace with Israel, and to join the Abraham Accords. Change is already happening. Hamas's dead end is helping Arabs free themselves from the illusion of Palestine. I hope more clans will join this initiative to replace the self-appointed Palestinian leadership and bring peace to Arabs and Jews. Oh, he likes it.
Sounds like he likes the idea. Hey, Mosh, you guys are about equally trustworthy in my book as far as people who are over there, have more experience over there, and know significantly more than we do. So you on the Israeli side and Masab on, well, I guess Masab on both he's been on both sides of the issue. I have to say, it sounds right. Whenever I hear from some other group, and yes, we want to separate from this, I think, come on, you're just another terrorist group. These guys don't sound like that. It makes sense. The story they're telling makes sense. We had our clan. That's where our allegiance lied, and so on. And all of a sudden, other guys come over and start barking orders at us. We do not want this. We did not sign up for this stuff. What's up?
He has a post from yesterday.
Masab?
I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. That is, Muhammad didn't marry Aisha when she was 6. He waited until she became 9. And it's like 2 million views so far. And it received a community note.
Yeah, no, she was 6.
Saying factually incorrect. As stated in Sahih Bukhari, the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. This is very well played.
Maybe he's thinking of the nikah as
It's so funny, man. And then he's sharing the responses now.
That's funny. That's what you wonder if that's on purpose or not. Like, hey, can I say something that's false?
Probably.
That's funny. funny. So they want Israel to take it on good faith that they're not going to try smuggling terror. No one's saying that, Austin. No one's saying that. No one's saying Israel's just going to, and trust me, there's no situation where Israel says, oh, this is what you're saying. I guess we're okay with that. No, time would tell. And notice how they've done it. They said they'll start off small. They'll start off with a small group and so on that works together and so on. And then as trust is built, then they'll allow in more and more. I have to, again, these guys do not sound pro-terrorist. They don't sound pro-terrorist. They sound like terrorists are screwing up everything for them. From what I understand, Jaabari can't even control their own family. How can they ensure others stay in line in deal? They want the benefit, of course. Well, I think it's 200,000 that have pledged allegiance to him, and then another 350,000 to other sheikhs, which these other sheikhs say they pledge allegiance to him. With that said, this place is supposed to be under Palestinian Authority control.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're not going to have 100% agreement on this issue, and you will have fight. They're saying basically the people who are actually loyal to family, we can crush the other guys. That's the position. They're saying they can get it done, and I would give them an opportunity to get that done. Keep in mind, not saying, oh, and tear down the wall between Israel. No one is saying that. It's step one is, okay, we recognize you as breaking away from the Palestinian Authority, and we recognize you as a separate emirate, and you are not under the Palestinian Authority control anymore. And you, in return, recognize Israel's right to exist and defend itself and to be a homeland for Jews. And so there's this mutual recognition. Again, that's step one. I don't see how that's any danger to Israel as far as that's concerned. I don't see that doesn't make you any worse off. I would say that automatically makes you better off. I would say you're already better off just by the Palestinian Authority losing some control over a massive part. What seems like about a third of their territory, and having that under the control of another group. So I would say, even if it never goes any further than that, and you never go through with any of this other stuff, I would give them a thumbs up to that. Say, yeah, get started. And then we're going to watch you, and we're going to see if you can actually pull this off. We're going to see if you can actually keep people under control. And based on that, we'll decide for the future. I don't see a downside to that. And so, guys, if the objections are going to be, oh, so they're just going to come along and say, hey, we're on your side, and now you're going to let them on Israel. No one is saying that, so please do not keep saying that that's what people are suggesting. No one's saying that. Love your content even more than Momo loved minors and Dihya Al-Kalbi, and you know how much that is. Keep crushing false prophets. And so we shall. AP, I went to my first divine liturgy today. It was beautiful. Wow. The priest kindly suggested a fully English Orthodox Church next week instead of Ukrainian. Ha ha. Oh, hi, David.
Nice. Very, very cool. That's very nice. It is beautiful. It is very lovely, and I'm glad that you had the experience. Go back. Go back.
How could there be a Ukrainian Eastern Orthodox Church? I thought Zelensky destroyed them all or something.
No, Zelensky only destroyed the Russians. There's a lot of bad stuff going on between Ukraine and Russia in terms of religion. Zelensky basically sees the Russian-aligned Orthodox Church as a puppet of Russia, and Russia sees the. I'm not going to say anything.
Let me put it this way. Realistically, there are probably a significant number of Eastern Orthodox in Ukraine who would have some sort of loyalty towards Russia. And then would the same be true in Russia? Would there be Eastern Orthodox churches in Russia that are nevertheless more aligned? Yeah. If they're close on the border or something like that, would be more on the side of Ukraine?
Yeah, and there and then also in the territories that Russia is taking over in Ukraine, there are those that Russia tries to suppress and ban and arrest of the Ukrainian clergy. They especially don't trust the Ukrainian Catholics, but they also have problems with the Ukrainian Orthodox. And in Ukraine, there was for the longest time there was a Ukrainian Orthodox Church that was kind of aligned with Russia, and since the war started intensifying, they broke off, and a non-Russia aligned Ukrainian Orthodox branch arose. So there is now internal divide and schism and all that. This is a whole huge
You guys love the
problem
schism.
that is like, there's actually currently a kind of schism between the Russian church and the Greek church over this issue, because the Russian Orthodox Church in Moscow, when Constantinople interfered and tried to basically protect Ukrainian Orthodox and give them sovereignty, Russia said, "Hey, you have no right to do this. How dare you?" So they started a schism. There's a lot of big stuff going on there.
See, many years ago, you guys decided, hey, you know, to be a good idea, schism. And now it's just schism after schism after schism after schism after schism.
Well, that was Rome's decision. That's a different issue.
Nope, you guys have gone down the path of schism, and now there's no end to it. You're just going to keep dividing up into smaller and smaller parts.
No, Rome did. So the Orthodox didn't.
Nope, you guys are like, okay, we've decided they were right. This is the path forward. Weird stuff. There is no peace for the Holy Land without the Prince of Peace, Yeshua al-Masih al-Melech. Peace be with you, separated brethren.
And with you.
$25 says that Danny will turn on Trent. $25 says Danny starts whining about us for some random reason. And they wouldn't even let me on their show. I begged them to be on their show, and they wouldn't let me. Ash Mays says, pray for Texas. More flooding could be coming. Yeah, at least now people are aware of it. Again, the flooding can come out of nowhere, and then people aren't ready for it, and then you get a disaster. And then betting they're paying attention now. So Oslo called, victim of peace, got exploded buses. Oslo called, victim of peace, got exploded buses.
Yeah.
Is that some news or just a comment?
No. It's a comment about how the last discussions got disrupted by the Intifada.
The 90s ones. Okay. Yeah, so yeah. Oslo, I don't know if you're talking about something that's going on right now in Oslo. So Oslo called, victim of peace, got exploded buses. Yeah, what the heck was the point of the Oslo Accords, man? They didn't seem to do anything good.
No, because there was no intention on the Palestinian side to actually establish peace. It was just it was a waste of everyone's time and an attempt by the Palestinians to take some power. That's it.
Unfortunately, Cameron has never met a dog that wouldn't hunt or seen a hill he won't die on. The same God debate will rage on for now. Yeah, we're going to have to keep coming back to it and making fun of it. Because Cameron's going to, no, I must stand on this at all times and agree that I worship the God who is a father to none and who has no son. As a Pole, I have an inherent and unabiding dislike of Turks. Smart. So do I, and I'm not even a Pole.
Nice.
I have an inherent and unabiding dislike of Turks, but I have definitely made an exception for AP. God bless you both. No need to make exceptions.
I'm Greek, so...
Yeah, no need to make exceptions anyway.
I crossed over to the Greeks.
Austin says, I came in late. Thank for the quick update. God bless. There's not a quick update. We're going to be reading a long article. That's why I was doing the super chats periodically, because there's a long article. As an Israeli, I think this is legit. Aha! Hey, Mosh. Esther says she thinks this is legit. Most Arabs in Judea and Samaria secretly wish they could have Israeli citizenship. Yeah, that's the difficult thing, right? Because whenever you're looking at statistics and how many people support the terrorist regime and how many don't, and how many, even if they don't support the terrorist regime, nevertheless support terrorism, they just want a different terrorist group and stuff. But what are the actual numbers of people who we don't want to live like this, and we would rather build up a place and live in it and make good places for people to live? I mean, Islamic terror is just a thing. Once it gets into an area, it just ruins everything, and it doesn't give many opportunities for fixing things or making things better. So how do you do it? It's almost like you have to say, okay, hey, everyone here, if you really want peace, get on this side. And if you want to be a terrorist scumbag or you support them, get on this side. Problem is, people on that side believe in lying and pretending they're on the other side and pretending that they believe in peace to get over there. So how do you actually get a group of people on some piece of land who want to live in peace? So it's always going to be difficult. So there's always going to be people who are faking. I have to say, as far as what I've seen, the clans are kind of your best bet. The clans that have a kind of clan family loyalty and have a leader that they rally around, that seems like your best bet. Let's see. Have them denounce the ideology of Palestinism explicitly and declare Allah is a Zionist by Quran. Yes, before we move forward, you'll have to acknowledge that Allah is a Zionist. Naive to think this isn't just a Hudaybiyah treaty. Again, no, it's not. You don't have certainty that everyone has these sincere intentions, but the story fits and makes sense. The story fits and makes sense. Again, you don't jump into anything. You'd want to take step by step, and you'd want to make it so if it turns out that they don't have bad intentions, fine. The Palestinian Authority still lost a third of its territory, and now they have to deal with this. Guys seem legit to me, though. We'll read more, though. Hi, David. Just sent you an original song about our favorite prophet via your email. I'd love to know what you guys think about it.
Based.
Well, I'm the world's foremost music critic. Jaabari is more trustworthy than PA for sure, I hope. Yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah, he seems far more trustworthy than other people. With that said, how trustworthy, that remains to be seen on how things go. I meant that when we signed the Oslo agreements, Rabin told us there would be victims of peace, and we got exploded buses as those victims. Yeah. Ukraine church situation is not as simple as Ukraine versus Russia. The autonomy Constantinople created was with defrocked clergy, which they agreed with, and the government has been taking churches from the original one. Do you understand this, AP?
Yeah. It's too complicated, but there was for the longest time there was a Ukrainian Orthodox Church that was aligned with the Moscow Patriarchate, that had control of many churches inside Ukraine, but the Ukrainian government basically aligned themselves with the alternative Orthodox Church of Ukraine that is supported by the Patriarchate of Constantinople, which Constantinople supported because they said Moscow is clearly taking advantage of their power and oppressing these people. So we will step in and just and take their power away and give these people their own autonomy and all that. And the new Ukrainian authority is now is interfering with the prior Russia-aligned Ukrainian church and taking their chapels and their churches and turning them into something else, or taking over their churches and adding them to its greater church community and so on. But the thing is, this is a whole lengthy, huge, long discussion that I'm sure you would like to have sometime if you want to ever talk about this topic alone, because it comes with a lot of nuance and with a lot of complications and with a lot of people who will be angry no matter what you say. You're muted. You're a mutant.
You're a mutant. They also just took the Ukrainian citizenship from the head of the original church. Two governments can be evil at the same time, AP. AP thinks in any war, there's one evil government and one super good government, and that's not even the case, AP.
No, I wouldn't deny that that both sides can be evil. I'm just saying that Russia is definitely evil. So.
Oh, yeah, I agree. We agree on that. All right, let's jump back into this super-based article. We'll jump back into this. Let's see. And with my technology, boom.
Kenny boom.
I plan to cut off the PA. I like the sound of that, Sheikh Jaabari says. It doesn't represent the Palestinians. The clans governed their own localities for hundreds of years, he says. Then the Israeli state decided for us. It brought the PLO and told the Palestinians, take this. So keep in mind, they're pointing out, this is what I mean as far as people giving off a vibe of whether they're speaking truthfully or not. If they were sitting here praising Israel for doing nothing but helping them and so on, I would be suspicious of this. Instead, they're saying, hey, Israel, you helped cause this problem right here. This screwed us too. You basically said, hey, we're going to agree with the PLO and they control you right now. And then they come in. And so it's you and them saying, you all control us. This sucked. This screwed things up. We did not like this. It brought the PLO and told the Palestinians, take this. Yasser Arafat's PLO had been exiled to Tunisia after being chased out of Jordan and Lebanon when the first Oslo Accord in 1993 installed it in the West Bank. This was called the peace process, but the Sheikh says he never saw any peace from it. Guys, you catching this? So Arafat, the PLO had been exiled. They're gone. Bye-bye. They're stuck over in Tunisia. Chased out of Jordan and Lebanon. They said, get out of here. We do not want you terrorists using our countries as bases. And then you get the Oslo Accords. How are we going to negotiate all this? And then everyone agrees, hey, let's give the PLO control over this giant, huge plot of land in Israel. And this was called the peace process, but the Sheikh says he never saw any peace from it.
Oh.
He says, there is an Arab proverb, Sheikh Jaabari says, only the village's calves plow its land. Get it? Only the Al-Zut plow Muhammad. There's a saying, only the Al-Zut plow Muhammad. So only the village's calves plow its land. Meaning if you're a calf from some other land, you're not plowing the village. That's Al-Zut plowing Muhammad. Only the village's calves plow its land. This means that a person who lives for decades outside, hint, hint, Yasser Arafat and all his followers, this means that a person who lives for decades outside, what does he know about where the springs of water in Hebron are located? The only thing you, the PLO, know about Hebron is collecting taxes. Dude, that's a burn. The only thing the PLO knows about Hebron is collecting taxes. They come for the money. They come for the money. They don't care about us. They don't care about us. 4 other Hebron sheikhs, whom I interviewed separately over Zoom, are even more strident. The PLO called itself a liberation movement. But once they got control, they act only to steal the money of the people, one major sheikh said. Okay, guys, this is interesting. These are other sheikhs. These are other sheikhs in the area. The PLO, he says, read that again. The PLO called itself a liberation movement. But once they got control, they act only to steal the money of the people, one major sheikh says. They don't have the right to represent us. Not them and not Hamas. Only we ourselves.
Good luck with that.
These guys sound serious.
Good luck.
Why always with the negative vibes, AP? We want the positive vibes. Positive vibes with the positive few. People have seen nothing but horror and disaster for so long, they're thinking there just can't be another way forward. We can't. I mean, I'm hearing about these guys for the first time. Have to say, they're giving off the positive vibes, man, those positive vibes. We want the world to hear our pain, another sheikh chimes in. The PA steals everything. They even steal our water. We don't have water to drink. They make do, they say, only because Mr. Barkat got the mayor of the Israeli settlement, Kiryat Arba, to build a water pipe connecting to central Hebron. The sheikhs say they mostly get along with the settlers and that many Palestinians used to earn good money in the settlements. You hearing this, AP? These guys don't have huh?
That's funny.
These guys are saying they don't have a problem with the settlers. And that they used to earn good money in the settlements. You can work. There's places for you to work there. Hey, I like working around these guys. I get paid to work around these guys. Oh, and these are the people that gave us water when our own government took our water and we had no water. Israel stepped in. Matter of fact, the guy we're working with, Mr. Barkat, we went to him. Dude, we have no water. Our own government took our water. We are going to die. And he says, don't worry, I'll get you water.
Damn.
These guys seem to, that's why they're working together, right? It's like he earned their trust. He earned their trust and they trust him. And that's why they met over a dozen times to talk about this stuff. These guys seem serious to me, guys. The settlers will find much to like in the plan, which breaks from the Oslo Accords scheme to divide the land. While the Hebron Sheikhs would gain territory, so would the settlers from the open land in what's known as Area C. But how much and where could it turn into a land grab? These are key details that the letter merely says must be negotiated. So they're calling for negotiations. Guys, we're going to sit down with a map and we're going to figure out what to do, settlements, everything else. We're going to figure it all out. They contain the potential for explosive disagreement. Then again, the Sheikh's letter mentions conversations with Yosi Dagan, the settler leader for Samaria. He says he supports and has worked on the plan and that issues of land can be worked out between people of faith who want peace.
I know a guy who is very much a representative of the settler community in or settlement community in Hebron. We could have a discussion with him about this.
We
see
could.
What he said.
We could, because I mean, it's one thing if this kind of fizzles out and doesn't go anywhere, and these guys are all screwed because they said they don't like the Palestinian Authority and they would actually rather try to work with Israel. But if this keeps moving forward, yeah, it would be good to get extra information from people who are there. And I like this this general attitude of, yeah, we're gonna have to sit down, we're gonna have to negotiate who's getting what and so on. And seems like, hey, how do you think this name is pronounced?
Which one?
Mr. It could be Dagan, it could be Dagan, it could be Dagan.
Just say Dagan.
I've been saying Dagan.
Dagan is probably fine.
Okay, we'll stick with Dagan. But if anyone knows the pronunciation, I'm talking to you, Mosh Cohen. What?
You have my stamp of approval.
Okay. Mr. Dagan says he first met Sheikh Jaabari 13 years ago. No, so this is interesting. These guys have known each other for a while. These guys have known each other for 13 years. And you got the other guy, Barkat. He actually supplied them water. It looks like these guys have been trying to work together to everyone's best interest in the area for a long time. Mr. Dagan says he first met Sheikh Jaabari 13 years ago. His father was a courageous leader who put his people first, and the son is the same. The Sheikhs also met Israel Gans, who leads the Settlement Council, and with whom Mr. Barkat has worked on potential maps. These are all good signs. These are all these all seem like people who are willing to not just. We're not just going to flip out and start killing each other. It's, hey, we actually want to sit down and figure out how to make this work.
Why did he work with a bunch of maps?
Yeah, like Daniel Kikatu. That would be funny. Daniel could like describe in his credentials. He could say map maker.
That's messed up.
I should say that when I debate him. And the world's leading map maker. Let's see. All right, paragraph down there. Mr. Barkat says people around the world ask Israel, you're against the two-state solution and you're against the one-state solution. So what the hell are you for? The answer he found about 5 years ago was the Emirates Solution. So he's been thinking this is actually the solution for a long time. He says it's the brainchild of Mordecai Kadosh. See, guys, I told you. See, This didn't even come from the clans. This was Israelis sitting there going, hey, if there's anything that could actually work, it would be focusing on the clans and getting agreement of the clans under the leadership of the clan leaders. That's how you would move forward. It's the brainchild of Mordecai Kedar, a scholar of Arab culture at Israel's Bar Ilan University. Mr. Kedar brought Sheikh Jaabari to Mr. Barkat and watched the partnership bloom. You've seen the letter, Mr. Kedar claims. That means it's really happening. For 20 years, he's been trying to sell the idea of Palestinian Emirates with the West Bank's 7 culturally distinctive cities run individually by their leading clans. He first met Sheikh Jaabari's father, Sheikh Abu Qadir, 11 years ago. To gain and earn trust, you have to sit with a man, Mr. Kedar says. That means to speak with him in his own mamaloshin, the Yiddish term for mother tongue. Ah, look, they got mama, and that's the mother.
Mama.
The
lotion?
Yeah, don't say mama lotion around, say mama lotion around Daniel Hakikachu. The Yiddish term for mother tongue in Arabic. Yeah, for Daniel would say, mama lotion, isn't that the same thing as baby lotion? Creepazoid. He says failing states in the Arab world, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. Oh, hey, guys, this is a good point. This is a seriously good point for all you naysayers, for all you doubters. And when I talk about you doubters, I'm not talking about you doubters who are doubting because you're there. If you're there, you've probably just seen every different group say, hey, we want to live in peace, and it doesn't work, and they're not serious, and so you don't trust these guys. But then as far as the rest of the world thinking, no, come on, you can't, there's no scenario where you could get along with these guys. He actually makes a really important point here. Check this out. He says, failing states in the Arab world, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Sudan, Yemen, Libya, are conglomerates of ethnic, religious, and sectarian groups with modern states imposed flimsily on top. This is what we were just talking about, right? We were talking about this earlier. You have Western map makers saying, hey, here's this thing. Where do I draw this line? I don't know. Here's a mountain range. Let me draw the line there. And here, listen, we got to get this city included. So let's draw a line down there. You don't realize what you just lumped together. You just don't realize everything you lumped together. Things that are basically bound to blow up in the future, right? So he says, hey, lots of the nations where you see these endless problems, it's because you drew a line around the places without understanding what's going on there. But those aren't the only places. Successes. Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and the 7 Emirates of the UAE are each controlled by one family. He's saying the family style government works. He's saying you can actually put on one side the family-based rule areas, and over here the sort of flimsy, let's draw a line around all these different groups. One of them ends in disaster all the time, and one of them works. So he's saying, why don't we switch from the system that doesn't work to the system that works? Seems smart. Are each controlled by one family. Al-Sabah owns Kuwait. Al-Thani owns Qatar. Al-Saud owns Saudi Arabia, he says. Dubai has very little oil, but it's run by one family, Al Maktoum, so it can thrive. So Dubai is a thriving place. They don't have the same resources that other places have. Why is Dubai doing really, really well? He's saying they're controlled by a family. They're controlled by a family, not by let's draw a line around something and then watch you all fight forever.
That's a good idea.
These are all good points. That's why I wanted to read this article. They're providing some interesting insights into the whole thing. The idea of the PLO and the Palestinian Authority was to supplant traditional clan and religious loyalties with a national Palestinian identity. That was deliberate, right? We're gonna make the Palestinian identity, and then what? Things are gonna get better? It failed, Mr. Kedar said. And the proof is Hamas, which puts radical Islam first. Say, who do you got in charge? Someone who's putting their family first, putting their clan first? No, putting radical Islam first. What happens if you get control over millions of people and you put terrorism first, you end up with a society that offers up its children as martyrs and makes that the entire goal in life. That is not, hey, this is what's in the best interest of our people or our family or our clan or anything like that. That's what happens if you put terrorism number one on your list of priorities. Underneath it all, the clan system survived. Somebody from Hebron, not only will he not move to another West Bank town, this is interesting. Not only will he not move to another West Bank town, West Bank, because he will be viewed as a foreigner, but even in Hebron, he will not move to another neighborhood that belongs to another clan. They're saying they take this stuff pretty darn seriously. And now we understand Highlander. I'm Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod. And I'm immortal. Hebron's clans are particularly strong. Hebron is much more traditional, much more conservative, especially compared to Ramallah. I always love that name because it sounds like Ram Allah.
Oh, Ramallah. Ramallah.
I'm going to go Ramallah. The people of Al-Zut, I want to move to Ramallah. Oh, I forgot. Cameron says I can't do that because it's the same God. Especially compared to Ramallah. Mr. Kedar says, Hebron will be the test case for this idea of the Emirates. Guys, and I really like the way both sides are proceeding here. He's saying it's a test case, right? He's not, so all of you, no, we will not fall for this. This will be the destruction of Israel. No one is saying that. He's saying, let's have a little test case on one spot and see if we can get it to work. If we can, then if it does work, if it's better, then we can sort of focus on that as the path forward. I like this. Being careful, taking people seriously, but being careful, starting small and trying to build out from there. That's the best you can do in this situation. And this is a situation where, hey, if this works, this would be very, very good. If it doesn't, okay, it's not like you've made things worse. Things already sucked pretty hard. Mr. Barkat, and the Sheikhs all expect Hebron to lay the groundwork for change in other West Bank cities, perhaps next in Bethlehem. Dizzle-like that. Refashioning Israel-Palestinian relations. It's also cool how they're kind of starting with the stuff that's pretty darn close to Jerusalem. Why? Because you did have lots of workers from that area and so on who were then shut out and so on. And I've been to Bethlehem, right? I didn't get killed.
Didn't?
No. So guess what? The point is there are plenty of people there who aren't just running around killing people or waiting for an opportunity to kill people.
Yeah, but how many?
Like dozens. Organizations like the PLO and Hamas tried to construct their legitimacy on Jew hatred. This is good stuff, man. Look at this. Organizations like the PLO and Hamas tried to construct their legitimacy. What is their legitimacy founded on? Why are these guys legitimate? Why are these guys a government that everyone should be submitting to? Why? They weren't even from there. They were imposed on people. Why should people accept them as the authority? They break it down. Organizations like the PLO and Hamas tried to construct their legitimacy on Jew hatred and hatred of Israel. Why should we listen to these? Because we hate Israel and want to destroy them. And they're, okay, everyone's supposed to get on board with that. But the clans are legitimate by definition. These guys have to say, you should agree with us and give us the authority because we're the ones who will wipe out Jews. They have to kind of sell their legitimacy and sell something you want. The clans already have the loyalty of the people. So the clans are legitimate by definition, Mr. Kedar says. They don't need an external enemy to frighten everybody to come under the aegis of an illegitimate ruler. Good stuff. The Ram Allah-based Ram Allah-based. Hey, I'll say the Ram Allah part. You say the base part, right? Ram Allah
based
Palestinian Authority can't protect us. The Ramallah-based Palestinian Authority can't protect us. It can't even protect itself, Sheikh Jaabari says. His fellow sheikhs warn that the Palestinian Authority could allow an October 7th-style terrorist attack on Israel, after which they expect the West Bank to look like Gaza. Their great fear. See that? They don't want to look like Gaza. They don't want their places, they want to build up. They don't want their places all being destroyed. And they think the PA has a chance of doing that at some point in the future. And they don't want the retaliation. But a prominent Hebron sheikh says, if we will get the blessing of, now they're bringing in President Trump. If we will get the blessing of Honorable President Trump and the United States for this project, Hebron could be like the Gulf, like Dubai. Meaning we will build this place up. Now, Dubai has some other advantages in terms of location and so on.
Big time.
Let me say this. Hebron could be significantly more like Dubai than they are now, right? You're not going to be like Dubai at the end. You could be more like, you could head more in the direction of Dubai as far as being a place where people actually want to live and so on.
The thing is, leadership and wanting a place like that is one thing, but it also comes down to how the people are, honestly. Yep. And I'm sorry to say, but the people of the region, those who call themselves Palestinians, are simply not like the people in Dubai.
That's true. Different people. I do like the clan loyalty. I mean, I don't think it's ideal. I think it's significantly better and significantly more likely to succeed in terms of, if your clan leader is saying, guys, no terrorism in our group, and you say, screw the clan leader, they already have it in place. If you are just saying, screw the clan, you're doomed. You're doomed in our group. You're in trouble. So they have a system for imposing rules, whereas as it is now, you've got a terrorist group in charge of in charge of the West Bank, and a different terrorist group in charge of Gaza, and it's the terrorist group that is calling shots. And so, if you're listening to the terrorist group, well, guess what? You're going to do terrorist type things. If you're not listening to the terrorist group, you're going to be killed. So you'll be killed for not aligning with the terrorist group. If the clan that runs an area is saying, hey, no terrorism, we want to get along, and you say, screw that, well, okay, now you have to not be a terrorist or you're in trouble. That's a bet. That's all. That's just better. Let's see. But a prominent Hebron sheikh says, if we will get the blessing of Honorable President Trump and the United States for this project, Hebron could be like the Gulf, like Dubai. That's more or less how Mr. Trump laid out the options for the Middle East in his May 13th speech in Saudi Arabia. Do you want to be like Iran or like the Gulf? The sheikhs have made their decision. And by the way, Iran, that's another example of a place that has kind of an outside ideology imposed on a people who don't like it, right? And why it's ultimately going to fall apart. So they're getting, regardless of whether you believe, have faith in their good intentions or not, what they're saying is fundamentally accurate about a system that can't work and is doomed to failure, and a system that can actually work because it's realistic on how things work in the area. Let's see. That's more or less how Mr. Trump laid out the options in the Middle East in his May 13th speech in Saudi Arabia. Do you want to be like Iran or like the Gulf? The sheikhs have made their decision. But will their plan get off the ground? The first 5 sheikhs were ready to move at the end of Ramadan, so they were already ready months ago. After signing the letter on March 24th, Mr. Barkat says, they complain that he asked them to wait for months because Israel was busy, first in Gaza, then in Iran. Mr. Barkat reminds Israeli officials that the sheikhs have put their lives in peril and operate on a timeline of their own. Now he says Israel must protect them. The PA is the problem, and they are the solution. So they've been working on this for months, and they've been getting delayed. Say, wait a minute, we're dealing with Gaza right now. Oh, no, wait a minute, we're dealing with Iran. We can't deal with this proposal and so on. But now it's public, and he's put that. Now it's public, and they put the information out there, and he has notified the Israeli government that these guys are going to be in trouble because now they're on record as wanting to side with us and join the Abraham Accords. And that is going to give them lots of trouble. In other words, they will be targets of terrorist attacks. And if some sort of deal isn't arranged right now, you're going to hear about it in the very near future. Some of these guys being killed and assassinated and blown up and stuff. Watch. Many more sheikhs have joined the initiative since March, and the leaders are confident they have the Palestinian Authority outmanned and outgunned. They're confident they... What? What'd you say?
I said, huh.
That's good, isn't it? Oh, there's a cool story. I'm wondering, I saw it somewhere. I don't even remember where it is. It's got to be coming up because it's not too much longer. They're confident they have the Palestinian Authority outmanned and outgunned. The people are with us, one sheikh says. Nobody respects the PA. Nobody wants them. Ha ha, suck that, PA. The only reason to wait for Israel is because it protects the PA. In other words, Israel has agreements with the Palestinian Authority. And so they're kind of waiting on Israel to say, okay, you guys have the okay from us to buck on these guys. That's the problem. If the sheikhs illegally armed men take to the street, will the Israeli Defense Forces and Shin Bet security agencies stand against them? If so, because keep in mind, guys, you've got the Palestinian Authority. You also have Israeli control. And so if these guys march out in the streets ready to fight, what happens? Does the IDF attack them? Say, hey, you guys are causing an uproar here, and so we're going after you. So they kind of need Israel's go-ahead on this. If so, it would be the triumph of habit over reason, Mr. Barkat says. Since Oslo 30 years ago, the Israeli security services have been instructed to work with the Palestinian Authority. It's all they know. The Shin Bet declined to comment. Political and security sources, however, say that the agency views the authority as critical in the fight against West Bank terrorism and has opposed the Sheikh's plan internally. You guys getting this? There's opposition. You have the Israeli government. The Israeli government views getting along with the Palestinian Authority as helping Israel avoid terrorist attacks. In other words, you want these guys on your side. You want to be working with these guys, calling shots and so on. And so do you want a bunch of sheikhs from Hebron rising up against the Palestinian Authority that you're working with? That's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. And by the way, that's also a potential problem. If Israel says, yeah, go ahead, Hebron, you're your own thing now. You're your own emirate. Well, now you just stabbed a big knife into the back of the Palestinian Authority, and they're probably going to be pretty pissed off about that.
Yep.
And what do terrorists do when you really piss them off? They do terrorist kind of things. Anyway, let's see. Political and security forces, however, say the agency views the authority as critical in the fight against West Bank terrorism and has opposed the Sheikh's plan internally. Worries abound of potential violence or anarchy in other West Bank cities where Sheikhs aren't prepared. The IDF also has raised concerns. Many in Israel's security establishment believe West Bank clans are too fragmented to govern or to fight terrorism. But how do you deal with dozens of different families, each of them armed, each under its own control? Asks retired Major General Gadi Shamni, who led IDF Central Command from 2007 to 2009. The IDF would be caught in the crossfire. It would be a mess, a disaster. In other words, instead of having one big Palestinian Authority that you don't really trust, you have a bunch of families loyal to each other, all fighting each other for trying to get control of their areas and so on.
That sounds like fun.
Mr. Shamni rejects the idea that the national aspirations of Palestinians will disappear and you can deal with each tribe separately. In his view, there is no way to control the West Bank and manage life there without the central authority. These are interesting points too. So you've got these guys saying, wait, you can't have a central authority. We're our own separate clans. We don't have respect for the central authority that you impose. And you have other people saying, well, the alternative is you guys are a bunch of separate clans and families. And so there is no central control. And then how do you, you can't negotiate with everyone separately. It's really, really hard. And they're not going to be on the same page because they're all going to have different leaders. So it's kind of a nightmare. Retired Brigadier General Amir Avivi, founder of the Israeli Defense and Security Forum, disagrees. Oh, now we get the alternative. He says the Palestinian Authority is the central incubator of terrorism via school indoctrination and pay-to-slay salaries to terrorists. So he's saying, hey, this big system you've got in place is what actually keeps the terrorism going. It's what trains the kids to be terrorists.
Yep.
It's what says we'll pay your families if you get killed as terrorists. They're the ones keeping the terrorism going.
That's what they really do. They pay the terrorists.
Oh, yeah. They do that. And they're pointing out if the clans, now keep in mind, guys, you would have different clans in different areas. That's the concern. So even if you believe everything the sheikhs in Hebron are saying, that doesn't tell you how other sheikhs in other areas are gonna react. But that sheikh is saying, hey, if we're in charge, then everyone in our family listens to us. And if we say no tolerance for terrorism, and no, we're not supporting the families of terrorists, and no, you're not going to teach kids terrorism, none of that stuff. If you're out of line, guess what? Get the heck out of here. Get out of our clan. He also suggests the Shin Bet may change its mind when David Zini, the right-wing general nominated by Mr. Netanyahu, soon takes over the agency. Oh, so there's about to be a change in Shin Bet when a right-wing David Zini. It's like if I became Italian and they made a delicious pasta named after me. Oh, you wanted a bowl of David Zini, eh? That would be. The right-wing general nominated by Mr. Netanyahu soon takes over the agency. So you're getting a new sheriff in town, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Avivi has met Sheikh Jaabari several times and judges him serious, especially after rallying so many other sheikhs to his side. He adds, if Israel's position is that the Palestinian Authority can't be allowed to rule in Gaza because they're terrorists and they're corrupt, why are they okay to rule the West Bank? Did you catch that? So saying Israel's position is that the Palestinian Authority can't be allowed to rule in Gaza because they're terrorists and they're corrupt. You're saying, okay, if you believe that about them in Gaza, why do you think it's okay for them to be ruling the West Bank? You know they're terrorists. Why do you think it's good for them to be in charge in the West Bank?
Because it's cool, man.
It's based. The sheikhs say they can remove the Palestinian Authority from Hebron in a week. Dang, you hear this? Or a day, depending on how aggressively they move. You hear this, man? They say we can do this tomorrow, man. We'll get rid of these Palestinian Authority clowns tomorrow. That's pretty base. The sheikhs say they can remove the Palestinian Authority from Hebron in a week or a day, depending on how aggressively they moved. Just don't get involved, a leading Hebron sheikh advises Israel. Be out of the picture. They believe Mr. Trump's support can clinch it with Mr. Netanyahu. So they want Trump to sort of sign on and say he thinks this is good, and then Netanyahu to agree with Trump and so on. But look at what they're saying. They're saying we don't need your help. We don't need your help fighting these guys. Just stay out of it. If you stay out of it, because again, as of right now, Israel has a working agreement with the Palestinian Authority. They're saying, you just stay out of this fight. We will get rid of these guys. What do you got to, I don't know. That seems like quite a deal. Stay out of the picture. We'll get these guys out of here. They also say they're capable and motivated to fight terrorism. We know who makes problems and who doesn't. That's also a difference of like knowing the locals and being part of a family. You know everyone around you. You know everyone. You know what they're like. We know who makes problems and who doesn't, one says, because we live in our land. Ideology and extremism are threats to the tribal loyalty and economic pragmatism on which the sheikh's power depends. A cynic could say that the sheikhs disdain the Palestinian Authority for extracting rents that they would prefer for themselves. So maybe they just don't want to pay rent to these guys and they'd rather rent is paid to them. But consider the competition. An Israeli associate of the sheikhs shows me a video of the Palestinian Authority governor of Hebron, Khalid Dudin, complaining in a January 4th speech that the sheikhs' men fire at them, but not at Israel. Oh, do you see this, man? An Israeli associate of the sheikhs shows me a video of the Palestinian Authority governor of Hebron. So this is the governor of Hebron, but he's the Palestinian Authority. So he's the outsider controlling the local clan. But this guy's complaining in a January 4th speech, so this year, that the Sheikhs men fire at them, but not at Israel. That's a good sign. It says, hey, when we get out of line, these guys start shooting at us, but they don't shoot at Israel. That's kind of a good sign, guys, if they don't like the Palestinian Authority, but they don't fire at Israel. Palestinian Authority. Oh, here we are at the end. Palestinian Authority security forces are already unwelcome. Palestinian Authority security forces are already unwelcome in the Sheikhs' neighborhoods and would risk their lives if they appeared there without prior Israeli coordination. In other words, if Israel isn't protecting the Palestinian Authority when it rolls up into these Sheikhs' neighborhoods, these guys are not safe. The Palestinian Authority is not safe unless Israel protects the Palestinian Authority when they try to roll up in the neighborhoods that are controlled by these clans. Check this out. In 2007, Palestinian police shot and killed a teenage member of the Jaabari clan. Palestinian police shot and killed a teenage member of the Jaabari clan. That's Sheikh Jaabari's clan. The Sheikh's father asked for the shooter to be turned over. I said, give us the guy who shot him. You want peace? Give us the guy who shot our guy. We'll call it even. When the Palestinian Authority refused, the Sheikh's men took over its police station, burned 14 jeeps, and held 34 officers hostage, according to an article in Israel's Yedioth Ahronoth newspaper. The clash ended only when President Mahmoud Abbas backed down, declaring the boy a martyr and paying his family lifetime compensation. Ever since, the PA has held less sway in the area. AP, did you catch this?
No.
Check this out. This is all. I'm going to read this again, guys. Everyone get your mind around this. This is super dope and bass, man. You never seen anything this dope and bass in your life. Ready for this? The paragraph right in the middle. Pay attention to this because this shows something. Palestinian Authority security forces are already unwelcome in the Sheikh's neighborhood and would risk their lives if they appeared there without prior Israeli coordination. The PA can't roll up in here without Israel protecting them because these guys would mess them up. Well, what? Listen, this is awesome. In 2007, Palestinian police shot and killed a teenage member of the Jaabari clan. So they killed the PA, these outsiders, but they have official government authority, killed a member of the clan. So it's the government system versus the clan system, and they killed someone from the government system kills someone from the clan system. The Sheikh's father asked for the shooter to be turned over. That's how we settle it. Give us the guy who shot this kid. Give us the guy who shot this kid. We're going to take care of the guy. When the Palestinian Authority refused, they said, no, we will not hand over the guy who shot this kid from your clan. The Sheikhs men, so the clan, the Sheikhs men took over its police station, took over the Palestinian Authority police station. They stormed the place, burned 14 jeeps, and held 34 officers hostage. They held 34 police officers hostage. We are not letting these hostages go until we get justice. You think you can just roll up in here and shoot one of our guys? You are wrong. We will destroy you. Held 34 officers hostage, according to an article in Israel's Yedioth Ahronoth newspaper. The clash ended only when President Mahmoud Abbas backed down. They got him to back down, declared the boy a martyr. He said, you're a martyr. This kid we shot. We're declaring him a martyr and paying his family lifetime compensation. We're going to pay your family forever and regard him as a martyr for even though we shot him. Ever since, the Palestinian Authority has held less sway in the area. Why? It's also like a strength versus weakness system. They respect you if you're strong. You guys just look like a bunch of punks and you back down from the strength of the Jaabari tribe. Wasn't that one of the Black Panther tribes?
Was it?
Wasn't that the big strong guys who live up in the mountains? The Jaabari tribe? The Jaabari tribe? I think it was. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Yeah, because you don't watch cool movies. Asked if he is worried, this last paragraph, asked if he is worried his vision of coexistence with Israel will be called a betrayal of the Palestinian people and their cause, Sheikh Jaabari scoffs. The betrayal was done in Oslo. You forgot, but I remember 33 years of it, of false promises, violence, theft, and poverty, even as billions of aid dollars poured in from the West. I believe in my path, the Sheikh says. There will be obstacles, but if we confront a rock, we will have iron to break it.
Damn. Big words, man. Big words.
Big league.
Big
I like
words.
that guy. I like that guy, man.
big words. Let's see what if there's any substance behind those big words.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a poll. I'm gonna make a poll. Should the U.S. and Israel support?
I'm going to say it here one more time. The only sheikh to trust is Sheikh Jaabari.
That's true.
I don't trust any other sheikh.
All
right, I put it like this. Should the U.S. and Israel work with the Sheikhs of Hebron to rebel against the Palestinian Authority?
Yeah. Yeah. Do it. Do it now.
Gonna say, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be 50-50 or if some people are seeing this totally differently. Again, I can see just how you going to trust any of these guys, man. But I have no this guy's lying alarms going off as I'm reading what this guy's saying. Lots of times you get this guy's clearly lying vibe, and then sometimes it's sounds like he might be lying. Kind of getting none of that from this dude. Anyway. Ooh, hey, hang on. Oh, we got some cool comments from people who can put us in touch with people. Let me go back to where we stopped. Let's see. All right, let's check out these super chats, and we got some people who have some insights on this. What book or books would you recommend for apologetics? I've read Tactics and Street Smarts, Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus, and On Guard by William Lane Craig. Any others that go into more philosophy, problem of evil? Love y'all. If you want more on, I mean, there's tons of books on all this stuff. More on philosophy. If you want to go a lot deeper, get William Lane Craig and J.P. Moreland's Philosophical Foundations for a Christian Worldview. That's got tons and tons and tons of stuff in it. Thinking about problem of evil. The problem of evil stuff, a lot of the best stuff I've seen over the years were like just lectures by people. Back in the day, I read everything that was written, every major important book or article that people talk about in the problem of evil. I had to go through all of it. I'm trying to think if there's something that's just one good thing. Matter of fact, I got a shelf behind me.
You got a shelf behind you?
Mm-hmm.
What?
1 second.
He's running! He's running! You see? He's scared. He can't even sit down. He can't even focus, man. He can't even sit down here. He has to run away. I was giving people the impression that he's looking for something. He's actually scared. Hey, what's up?
What?
Did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, if you're talking about, because you're mentioning philosophy here and going in a philosophical direction, there's tons of stuff. There's tons of books that are sort of compilations of essays. So, God and the Problem of Evil. What is this? That's a bunch of essays by philosophers arguing different points. Evidential Argument from Evil, something similar. It's a collection of essays and so on. This I remember from a long time ago. Evil and the God of Love, John Hick. This dude became sort of a like nutty heretic and so on. But ideas in this book were pretty darn interesting. So we're talking about from a philosophical perspective. There are tons and tons of books like these. Talking about just like apologetics minded. You know, you can go C.S. Lewis or some of the other guys or watch some lectures. But yeah. As far as in addition to, if you read Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus, sounds like you are somewhat interested, at least in Islam. You should combine that with Answering Islam by Norm Geisler and Abdul Salib. And you could probably get some more suggestions from other people. I'm sure other people are going to be tossing in suggestions for you.
Beast. Do it.
I know God said, yeah, John Hick is a nut job. I wouldn't recommend him. Yeah, I was talking about back when he wrote this. He got nuttier and nuttier. This is some interesting ideas. Doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but I like some of the way he was thinking. And I said that because I thought of the ideas beforehand, and then I read his book, and I was like, oh, he's saying the same thing I thought of, except he's defending it way better than I could back then. Let's see. AP fan art on your social with X. It's recent. You hear that, AP?
We'll check it out.
Check it out.
We'll check
fan
it out.
art. David Wood's Heroes, always with the positive vibes. Jack Ray knew where that was from. That's from a movie called Kelly's Heroes. He called it David Wood's Heroes. But the guy would complain about something. He goes, "Why always with the negative vibes?" It was Donald Sutherland. He was pretty funny. Jews are not settlers in Judea. Enough with the Palestine-ism framing. Jews not being allowed in Judea, Gaza, and Temple Belt is the real apartheid. Yeah, don't even know what you're talking about here. Knows too much. Oh, it is messed up that they can't go there, but that's all because of negotiations and so on. And guess what? You actually have a suggestion on the table, to work with some clans who wouldn't have a problem with it. And yeah, would be much cooler even if you have all these clans and all these mini Emirates everywhere. It would be cool to have a future where Jews are free to at least go there, right? You can go hang out. You can go do stuff. You can go have coffee with your buddy somewhere over there. Some time ago, I went from Shavuot. How do you say that, AP? Shavuot. Is it Shavuot?
Shavuot.
Okay.
Shavuot.
I went from Shavuot.
Shavuot.
I went from Shavuot meal at home of R.W. Kahanis, leader for Hebron, to hour later on rooftop, hearing conversations between my head of area security and I believe a Jaabari representative. Interesting dichotomy.
Interesting. I'm gonna ask Yishai Fleischer. He's big in the region.
Who?
In Hebron. Yishai Fleischer. We met him in Tel Aviv briefly. He came over when we were at the event, and we talked very briefly. But I've been kind of exchanging greetings and stuff for a long time now, and thinking of talking to each other. But maybe I can talk to him about this topic.
Al-Zut Ram Allah. It'd be funny if in Ramallah there's a Zut Street right down the middle. If not, there should be. Josh Hammer sent AP a DM to have you on his podcast. You know about this, AP?
Yeah, I just checked and just saw it.
Who's Josh Hammer?
Thank you, Jingle.
Sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. Who's Josh Hammer?
It's MC Hammer. It's his real name.
Josh Hammer. American Thought Leaders, Josh Hammer. Middle East Breakdown Response with Josh Hammer. He's on a bunch of news programs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also, Young America's Foundation. Sounds like some conservative thing you'd be interested in.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Pear Carrot. Oh, that's a super sticker. Thank you for the super sticker, though. Saying thanks for being you. That's what we do. We be us. Kedar was involved in these discussions. Yeah, we saw some of that in the article. Oslo Accords was a crime against Israelis, legitimizing terrorist PLO in eyes of the world, giving them Israel's heartland to control, foolish and immoral. You have to say that a lot of bad things flowed out of that agreement. Might be better to just fight it out sometimes. If I can get an expert for the area, would you want to talk?
Yeah.
Yes, we would. Yes, we would. I'm in Toronto. We have Jewish and Muslim neighborhoods. Both have money. Jewish hoods are beautiful and peaceful. Muslim hoods are like ISIS-controlled territory with high crime. Do they not see? I believe you. I want to say yes, but then I remember Afghanistan. We can't trust it. Dude, you can't use Afghanistan. It's just like using Afghanistan as the reason. I can't even tell if people are joking at this point, but it became like almost joke level of everyone who was saying, oh, a regime change, it wouldn't work in Iran. Why? Because it didn't work in Afghanistan. Okay, Afghanistan is very different from Iran. Different kind of people, different kind of population. So the question here is the population of Hebron more like Afghanistan or more like the people of Iran? I would say more like Afghanistan, but you can actually have an entire group that says, you know what, we don't want to fight anymore. We want peace and so on. And you can actually work with those kinds of groups. And as far as remembering Afghanistan, like, what do you even mean there? You're talking about like helping groups that became terrorists? Yeah, people had an idea. Those are the guys. Those are the guys who will stand. In other words, if you have an invasion coming, a communist invasion coming, you want people who are going to stand their ground to the death, like it or not. Those are jihadis, and so you support the jihadis. And then the communists get out of there. What happens? Now you're left with a bunch of jihadis that you helped and supported, and they're going to give rise to a new batch of problems. So is that a reason to not take these guys seriously? No, this is a clan-based system. I mean, in terms of, is a clan-based system more like Afghanistan or the people of Iran who are largely secular and so on? No, it's more, a clan-based system is more like any of the older seeming systems. They really do seem like they don't like the Palestinian Authority and that they would like to get along and build a future. And if you're just going to say no because of Afghanistan, what you're saying is no, we can think of, could you ever build peace with anybody if you're thinking like that? The answer is no. Sometimes you just got to take a chance, man. You want to be careful, but sometimes you just got to take a chance. Like, seriously, if you're going to say, hey, it didn't work in Afghanistan, therefore we will never make peace with any group ever because we will never trust them. Okay, you're kind of doomed to nothing but destruction forever. So you kind of have to pick and be careful. These guys seem legit. As far as what I've seen so far. Do you know what that smells like? No. I knows too much as Muhammad Rambi al-Zuti. This weirdness that all your fans are posting over here. All right, man. Looks like, all right, I gave the poll some time to run. We've got 392 votes. I asked the question, should the U.S. and Israel work with the Sheikhs of Hebron to rebel against the PA? Keep in mind, I'd like them to rebel against the PA no matter what the U.S. and Israel decide. But because I don't like the PA. It's like would I like a huge, powerful family in Gaza to rebel against Hamas? Yes, I would like to see that. More so in the West Bank because they have more of a chance for succeeding than a group that's rebelling against Hamas right now would have. Hamas would just slaughter everyone. These guys seem strong enough to actually not get crushed quickly by the PA. But it looks like we have 76% say yes, the U.S. and Israel should work with the Sheikhs of Hebron to rebel against the PA. This is going in the documents forever. 415 votes. I'm going to end poll now. Will be interesting to see, ladies and gentlemen. All right, AP, anything else, man? Just wanted to get through that awesome article and make sure everyone's informed. Everyone's informed. So, before we go, let me put these maps back up there in case lots of people came in late. But once again, there's a map of Israel. See that big green chunk of territory there? That territory is currently under the sort of joint control of the Palestinian Authority and Israel there. Let's zoom in here. Right here, you've got the West Bank. Let me get this off here. So you've got the West Bank there. That's all the territory in green there in the middle. You got the big upper section, and then you got the smaller section on the bottom. Notice right there in the middle on the bottom section, you have Hebron, close to Jerusalem. And you have the Sheikhs in that area saying, we do not like the Palestinian Authority. They are outsiders. They are bad. They just use us to take our money. And they're the ones encouraging terrorism. We would rather not have any of that stuff. We can be controlled by our own clans. In fact, we could defeat these guys. But as it looks right now, Israel would probably protect them because of the Oslo Accords and working with them. And so just withdraw your support. They're saying, Israel, just withdraw your support. Agree not to come after us if we go after these guys. And we will take care of the problem for you in our area. In other words, that bottom section, they're saying they could win. They could win that. And I would not object. I would not object. Let's see, last couple super chats. Robo Ronan says, fair point. Yes, it was. Fun fact, Rabin signed Oslo because he was tired of Supreme Court preventing him fighting terror. His famous phrase is, without Bagaz and without Bethlehem. So I didn't like the idea, eh?
No.
Ash says, clans are greater than the Palestinian Authority, but some Jaabari members are, he's saying they're Hamas. Some of these Jaabari members are Hamas. Yeah, so, but that's what I mean as far as clan loyalty can be put to use. And so it's kind of, if you have members of the Jaabari clan, you're required to submit to your leaders. And if you're like, no, I'm going to be a terrorist, they're going to handle that. They're going to handle that. I think they'll handle that. I think a clan saying we are not going to be doing terrorism anymore. I think they would have a significantly better chance of actually dealing with terrorists in their group than something like the Palestinian Authority, which is an actual terrorist group, would have. I took 461 years of Islam conquering and owning Christian lands before the Western world began First Crusade. It's not bad enough yet, in my opinion.
You mean it took?
Yeah, I think so. It took 461 years of Islam conquering and owning Christian lands before the Western world began the First Crusade. Yeah, Western nations are a little slow to react. But back then, they're like, it's just this other group that we don't like of Christians that's being conquered. All right, AP, any final thoughts before we head out?
Nope. No thoughts at all.
All right, everyone. AP.
Yes.
You don't need to be present. I don't think so, but you can be if you want. But me and Thaddeus are checking out the new Behind Veils video tomorrow, going through some of the going. He just posted today a new Ali Dawah video. I think there's this one and then one final one going through all of this stuff. But we want to stay updated on it because I think tomorrow. Wait, hang on. Let me verify because he has changed this a couple times. Hang on. Let me check reasoned answers. Hang on. Yes, it is still scheduled. So, Thaddeus of Reasoned Answers. You guys can watch this. Hey, in fact, if someone wants to put this link in the description, Thaddeus of Reasoned Answers, or you could just, it's not even live yet, so you could just check it out tomorrow when it's live. But Thaddeus interviewed Mohammed Hijab's ex-wife, Aisha, the one who called him out for the whole marriage scandal and stuff like that. She is interviewed in a video with Thaddeus. That premieres 10 a.m. tomorrow. So the plan is in the evening we're going to watch the new Behind Veils video and Thaddeus's interview with Aisha. And that's all necessary because there's more to come after that, guys. We got to be up to date because there's more to come after this. There will be more stuff that's going to be checked out.
But wait, there's more.
All right, so that's coming tomorrow, everyone. Pay attention to that.
Awesome.
What?
Awesome. And then this week there's going to be huge stuff, big stuff. We'll see.
Huge, big. Yes, I'll be here with Tucker Carlson and saying, wow, Tucker, you're so smart and based.
Yeah, I will go meet Tucker Carlson. I'll say, whoa, man, I'm such a huge fan. Wow, what's up, man?
You should walk up to him like while you're recording. Walk up and say, Tucker, I'm a big fan of Andrew Tate too. Hey man, could we work together in defending our hero Andrew Tate? You, me, and Candace.
I'll go with him and say, hey Tucker, I'm such a big fan.
Yeah, isn't it weird? Like when I'm looking at the list of people who you really, really are obsessed with, it's like, okay, who do you like, Tucker? Well, I really like, let's see, Andrew Tate. I like what he's doing. Putin, of course, he's a legend. Hitler, he was the good guy. It's like, wait a minute, starting to think your moral compass is not functioning perfectly.
Seems to be a little bit of a problem.
It's the same thing with all the anti-Israel Jew haters and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, look who's on your side. Wait, look who's in your feed cheering you on when you say this stuff. Who do you have cheering you on? You got groypers, you got Nazis, you got communists, you got jihadis. It's like the worst of the worst are the people on your side. It should kind of tell you something about your position if like the all-time worst groups that we're familiar with are all cheering you on whenever you go after Jews. So, little bit of Wood's words of wisdom here.
Wisdom.
Let's see. David says, D. Wood, LISO asked you to promo some conference. Oh, yeah. I don't want to do that here at the end. Yeah. I would have to download it. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll promote the conference. We got a based conference coming up and some base debates, and that's all coming up in Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if someone wants to share that in the chat, I'll also pin it as a comment for people who want to check it out, and we'll watch a promo video tomorrow. I have to download it and stuff. But yeah, guys, we got an apologetics conference later this month in Ohio. We got a bunch of speakers. I think AP is going to sing one of his songs live in front of everybody. We got a couple debates, even one on the Islamic dilemma. Should be awesome. Conference is free. They're basically crowdfunding all the costs. So if you want to chip in to help cover the costs, you can. But it's free to sign up and attend. Going to be super dope and fly. And have you forgotten? Oh, look at this. Have you forgotten about the 7/7 boom boom 20 years ago tomorrow? Oh wow.
Really? Damn.
I need to mention that tomorrow. I wasn't even thinking about that. 20th anniversary. Wild stuff. All right, everyone. We will catch you tomorrow. We're going to find out we're going to hear from Aisha, Mohammed Hijab's ex-wife. in her interview with Thaddeus, and we'll check out the new Behind Veils stuff. Should be very, very, very based. Catch y'all then.
Catch y'all. See y'all.